Hey, and welcome to Making FX. I mentioned I was going to make this video in my recent VFX history episode about Slitscan, but the idea for that video came from viewer ZRUM2, who asked me on a whole bunch of other videos how to recreate various Doctor Who sequences. That led me down a very big rabbit hole. In the VFX history video at the end, I cover how you can recreate the mechanics of Slitscan using After Effects. But in this video, I'm going to look at recreating the end result with a much easier method. Actually, two methods. First, I'll show you how to use the included Cinema4D Lite, where I'll convert an image into a spline and then extrude the spline into a tunnel. I'll then add a material and use the options to scale that texture. I'll then bring that into After Effects to add movement and finishing touches. The second method uses Video Copilot's Element 3D to take a shape, create a mask, and then extrude and texture it. You saw both options in the cold open, so you may as well pick the one you like from that. From After Effects main menu, go to File, New, Maxon C4D file. You will have to sign into the Maxon One app. But once there, you can either create a primitive or a spline. While you can use an existing spline shape or draw your own freehand, you can also turn any shape into a spline using Create, Generator, Vectorizer. If you now add a black and white version of your shape, in my case I'm going to use the channel's cactus as the texture. You need a solid shape like this. Adding an image with transparency doesn't get you the desired result. Set the tolerance between 0 and 5. 0 sometimes leaves the spline a little rough. To extrude this spline into a solid tunnel, go back to Create, Generator, and this time choose Extrude. From this panel, drag your Vectorizer to be inside the extrude, then select the extrude object. In the Object Properties panel, switch to Caps, and uncheck Start and End. This is assuming you want to fly down the shape and not just make a 3D line. Back on the Object tab, set the offset to 10,000 and the direction to Z. To add a texture to the tunnel, go to Window, Material Manager. And in the New panel, select Create, New Default Material. And double-click to open the material editor. If you have a cool texture of foil or salt crystals, you can add this in by dragging the image file onto the texture box in color. You can also add it to the luminance by switching to that and choosing the image from the drop-down. I found I did need to drop the value of luminance to about 33% though, as it washes out in After Effects otherwise. From the Materials Manager panel, drag this material onto your extrude object. In the Attributes panel, play around with the projection options to determine how you want the image to be stretched over the object. I found UV mapping worked best for the cube, but I used spatial for the cactus. The length U and length V properties come in handy for adjusting the tiling. When you're satisfied with the look, go to Edit, Scene Settings, and make sure your time max is set to the length of your After Effects comp. If that's 15 seconds, just type 30 for the frames per second times 15 into this box. Then go to File, Save, and return to After Effects. You'll need to drag your C4D file onto the new project icon to create a comp, or add it to an existing comp. And then in Cineware's Effects settings, change the camera to Centered Comp Camera. And change the renderer to current or current draft. You can leave it as viewport until you're ready to render, but if you need to adjust the look of the colors, you'll need to see the final result by using current. Then create a camera by going to Layer, New, Camera. And I find the easiest way to animate a camera move like this is to go to Layer, New, Null Object. Make this 3D and parent the camera to it. I can then animate the null moving down the vortex tunnel, and I don't have to worry about the camera's point of interest messing up the view. To get the black end of the tunnel, I added my original cactus image with transparency to the timeline. And then I went to Effect, Generate, Fill, and set the color to black. Then I went back to Effect, and this time chose Blur and Sharpen, Fast Box Blur. And I set the amount to 15, and unchecked Repeat Edge Pixels, and then scaled and positioned the 2D layer to appear to block the end of the tunnel. And that's it for C4D. The project is linked in the description below, but as I mentioned at the start, there is another method. For this version, you'll obviously need the pay-for plugin Video Copilot Element 3D. Even though After Effects natively can now do a lot of what Element 3D does, there are still features that Element excels at, and this is one of them. Here's my comp, and I have a solid with Element already added. First thing I need to do is add my image. It's my cactus logo on a transparent background. And I'll also add this cool texture of crystals. With the cactus image selected, I'll go to Layer, Auto Trace, and with the channel set to alpha, I'll have After Effects create a mask in the shape of my logo. Switching over to Element, I'll expand Custom Layers, and in Custom Text and Masks, I'll pick my logo layer. The mask auto trace added will be picked up automatically. Next, I'll also add my salt crystals to the custom texture maps. With these done, I'll now go to Scene Setup and hit Extrude. We don't do anything to the model yet, but instead, twirl it down to see the material and select that. Select Non-Set on Diffuse, and in the Texture drop-down, select the Custom Crystal texture. At the top of the material properties, there's the extrude value. Set that to as high as it will go, 100, which isn't quite far enough for the tunnel. So switch back to the model, and in Scale, uncheck the padlock and set the Z scale to 1000%. But if I now move the view to be inside the camera, it's not showing up. Switch back to the material and scroll down to the bottom of the panel and check Draw Back Faces. It's still not applying the texture quite right. So back on the model, let's change UV mapping to Sphere. And then back on material, double click on the diffuse texture again and set UV repeat to 20 and 5 respectively. And you can also bump up the contrast and brightness here too. If you'd prefer to use a regular shape like Doctor Who's diamond, then make a cylinder instead and set its sides to just 4 and set the height to 100. Rotate it to the horizontal Once you're set, click OK to return to After Effects. As with the C4D version, create a camera, create a null object, make it 3D, and parent the camera to it. And then animate it flying down the shape. To add the black end, return to Element in the Effects Control panel, expand Render Settings, then Fog, and enable Fog. And there's one really cool side benefit of using Element for this. Because the extrusion is happening based on the mask in the timeline, you can animate the mask to change from one shape to another. Like this. And that's all the tricks. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in Slitscan, then check out my VFX history all about it.